You can do this." I must have said it 10 times in my head and muttered it another 20 times under my breath. "I've always been a singer," I wrote. "Singing is my identity, really. But I've obstructed my own success by getting in my own way. The truth is, I'm so full of guilt and shame that I don't think I deserve any of this. I've been HIV positive for 8 years, and I've never told anyone who wasn't considered one of my closest and dearest friends. Needless to say, this was unfamiliar territory for me. But this was part of being bold and brave. I turned in the paperwork, and approximately 30 minutes passed. As I sat there, shifting and watching the other contestants practice, my thoughts were unproductive. How many singers have they actually heard today? I don't have a chance. What am I doing here? I should go home and be with my partner and my puppy. My palms became sweaty, and I noticed heat seeping out of my warm clothes. This was the typical nervous rush I had always experienced whenever I'm making myself vulnerable in front of others. For me, vulnerability could be as simple as raising my hand to ask a question in a group of strangers, or being given a stage direction in an opera rehearsal that would leave my colleagues' eyes watching to see how I moved, walked, or sang. To others, this would be a normal part of life, but to someone like me, someone without an ounce of confidence, it felt like a dissection, an invasion. A few more minutes passed, though it seemed like an eternity. Most of the room had cleared out by this time. Finally, a man working on the show said, "Please come with me." I gathered my things, my backpack, my jacket, my phone charger, my headphones, and my dignity. I stood up and immediately felt lightheaded, as if I had low blood sugar. Chalk it up to nerves, I thought, or jet lag. My mouth was dry. I couldn't imagine having to sing any time in the near future. I had barely gotten through La Boheme earlier in the day. I peered down to the first level of the convention center, and I could see people walking toward the exit. Some were hanging their heads in disappointment, and others audibly screamed on their way out. Based on their cackles, I assumed they were teenage girls who had received good news after their auditions. The floors were a hard-tiled surface, like what you'd see in a department store, and there were large glass windows and beams everywhere, so the whole place was an echo chamber of sound. It was obvious who was given good news and who was given a disappointing "try again next year." I took a deep breath. I was about to share an incredibly private part of myself with a room full of perfect strangers. It was my first journey into authenticity. A giant breakthrough for me. My name is Branden James. I am an openly gay, openly HIV positive, married Christian man. And this is my life story. Chapter 1. I was born on June 19, 1978. An older friend of mine named Helen, an aristocratic Oklahoma-born woman with a wicked sense of humor, recently slapped me upside my left shoulder and said, "Quit telling people your age. It is none of their damn business." I suppose there is an age stigma in showbiz, but in this world of information, it's easy to go to my Wikipedia page and find out the truth. Additionally, lying about my age just doesn't go along with my belief that it's my calling to be transparent and live a life of authenticity. My sincere apologies, Helen, but the cat is out of the bag. I was a morning baby who came out of my mother's womb around 9:05 a.m. She says she had an immense peace about her when I was delivered. There was no pain, nor discomfort, only sheer feelings of bliss and joy. Perhaps it was because she listened to Carole King and James Taylor when she was pregnant, but I was just super chilled out. Or maybe it's because I've always had a sense of ease about me. I was born in Tustin, California, and raised in the adjacent city of Anaheim, about 2 miles from Disneyland, which soon became my second home as a child, as it was for my 2 older brothers. My mom had a high school friend, Rick Steele, who became senior vice president at the park. And in those days, she could just call Rick and he'd walk us in for free whenever we wanted.